This is King Leonidas, the ruler of the Spartans, who are referred to as that man and his people who have dedicated their lives to endless training, even in death. They are born for battle and they die for battle. Since the birth of humanity, billions upon billions of people have continued to rise and fall again and again. Amongst them, the ones renowned are the strongest are without a doubt them, the Spartans, according to Brunhilde, who has managed to get the scores at a tie. This is after 8 rounds in Ragnarok, choosing Leonidas to fight in round 9 against the final Greek god Apollo, someone who had to grind his way up to become a god of many things. However, upon revealing to the king that he's next, the mad lad said he doesn't feel like it, seeing himself as worthy to fight only first or last, possibly meaning against the likes of Thor or Odin, but once revealing that Apollo is next for the gods, his interest peaked, having prior beef with this god and ready to take him out in the name of Sparta. He is ready, as Sparta is the strongest of people and gave birth to the strongest of kings. However, this fight did not go well for him at all. He failed humanity. Apollo was something else altogether, connecting to Leonidas' time alive, where there was a ceremony that celebrated the glory of Apollo, with this oracle being passed down through generations. This is where Leonidas was different, claiming that he's never met or seen a god, therefore I refuse to entrust my life to them, becoming humanity's strongest rebel and destroying the statue of Apollo, explaining his one-sided beef with the god all things considered. But before their fight even begins, we learn that the other gods don't really like Apollo, but have to accept that he is strong, with us seeing that he does not care about the defeat of Poseidon, Hercules and Hades, fellow Greek gods, with him being the representation of overwhelming strength and beauty, something that dominated this king since the very start. We see both human and god looking at one another. The announcer calls the beginning of round 9 and Leonidas begins with a charge. He jumps into the air and attempts landing on Apollo, but the Greek god managed to avoid it. Then his divine weapon, the shield, begins to transform into this weapon, throwing it directly at the god. On top of that, we are told that this shield is being used by Leonidas, as the Valkyrie within it is the only one able to hold his power. This is the advancing spear, which is landing directly on Apollo, who tries to block it, but then a weird aura surrounds the weapon, successfully landing an attack on this god. However, we have a slight issue. Apollo wields an ability known as Threads of Artemis, which can be used in a variety of ways, such as protecting him from attacks like this, even if they land through the initial defense, alongside many other things we'll get to shortly. But Leonidas attempts to follow up, but Apollo is able to dodge all the coming attacks, and we see that he's still playing around, wanting to put on the show for his fangirls, you could say, triggering the king, who unleashes this one, a fury of blows that once again is dodged by Apollo, who has entered his boxing stance and is now absolutely beating up the king. He keeps attempting to go for these spear strikes, but is unable to land any of them until Apollo gets close enough to land a direct strike, followed by even more insane dodging ability, dominating Leonidas completely with his form of outboxing. The king can't do anything, and it gets to a point where Apollo just outright stops and actually nerfs himself to a degree, humiliating the king, limiting the arena right now to this quick instance, while the god has absolute confidence in his own abilities, giving the mere human a mere chance to do something, as it isn't looking too good for him. Furthermore, we even see his Valkyrie being triggered by what's going on, bringing us to the next stage of the fight. The weapon transforms once again into this club with a chain connected, the god and human are facing off one another and they charge. Both meet in the middle. Leonidas is going for a monstrous attack from above, which is about to land. An explosion occurs. We see a lot of the arena getting destroyed, but once we get a closer look, we see that Apollo was once again able to dodge the blow, landing his own strikes once again that Leonidas cannot dodge, followed by a parry, and then actually binding the human. Once again, Apollo is dominating, but with all this said, Leonidas is surviving the insane beating he's received so far. Bro has not gone down at all. But with that said, the beating continues. Since Leonidas is now bound, Apollo pulls him towards his fist and continues landing direct strikes that has the human's face getting absolutely destroyed. But the mad lad, the strongest rebel, does not give up, screaming that this is Sparta, landing his first major blow on the god, a direct headbutt that does considerable damage and even stuns Apollo, allowing Leonidas and his Valkyrie to land another blow, this time with the divine weapon. From above, a smash that has Apollo bounce off the ground and go flying through the air, followed by Leonidas having a huff of his cigar and having the god kneel in front of him. Bringing us once again to the next stage of the fight. Apollo is now locking in and taking everything serious. Both are seemingly beginning to have respect for one another, regardless of Leonidas' unstoppable want to kill the god, bringing us to their next clash. With the sun god releasing his ultimate ability, Artemis Moonlight Glow, which results in his arrow and light bows to come out, unleashing them directly at Leonidas, who gets pierced in an instant, alongside the arena almost killing a spectator, something that in the future of the story resulted in adjustments being made to the arena due to how dangerous this fight actually was. But a single arrow has Leonidas looking like this. Apollo has revealed once again an overpowered attack, resulting in the domination to continue, this time unleashing a fury of blows. Leonidas is able to dodge some of them and block others, however he is not skilled enough to avoid them all. Leonidas is beginning to pierce him from many spots. Leonidas is about to lose, until something strange happens. An arrow is sent directly at his face, potentially a killing blow. This time, Leonidas actually sees it, deflecting the light arrow directly back at Apollo, who gets his arm completely destroyed. That's right, he deflected the arrow, one that apparently Zeus is only able to deal with, a character with a technique above time itself, leaving everyone stunned in the process, where the god's only explanation for what just occurred is that it's purely instinct. The instinct of a warrior acquired solely with experience. That must have been why he was able to deflect Apollo's divine arrow back at him. Something many of you guys watching would think it actually takes away from Leonidas' showing here. However, the fact still remains, he was able to perform this feat. And on top of that, Leonidas has taken multiple arrow shots directly, on top of the beating he's survived throughout the entire fight, and is still standing, while the likes of Apollo, who hasn't had the same beating and only one arrow deflected back at him, is regarded by Zeus as in the same damage amount as the likes of Leonidas, who right now is going absolutely crazy, screaming at the god to continue fighting, where we get a goated moment from Leonidas. The reason doesn't matter, because right now it's time to fight. We humans can't choose how or where we are born, but we can choose how we will live and how we will die. That's why I choose to follow my own soul, bringing us to the climax of the fight. The Valkyrie starts transforming once again, and we see something that relates to the Spartans the most. The shield of truth is here, and as a response, Apollo does this. He uses the Artemis he summoned as the bow and becomes the arrow himself. The final charge. Everyone is watching. Leonidas' shield is charging full power, likewise with Apollo, who's become an arrow himself. They are about to clash and the victor of the fight is about to be revealed. The arrow meets the shield with the reveal of the outcome. Apollo was able to pierce directly through the divine weapon, defeating the Valkyrie and also piercing Leonidas directly once again. However, the human is not done. He manages to grab the god and proceed to land one more blow, but he stops right before landing it, as this is over. Leonidas has been defeated, the Valkyrie is gone, Apollo has acquired victory for the gods, and upon winning after 9 minutes and 30 seconds, he praises Leonidas and the Spartans. Now before you leave, watch this Record of Ragnarok video on screen now to learn more about this amazing series.